Deadlink, an absolutely badass roguelite cyberpunk mobility shooter. I haven't seen much content for Deadlink other than a few YouTubers covering it. Even on Steam, this game has about 2,000 reviews. And I'm going to be talking about everything from the presentation to the feel and the setting of the game. And before we get into it, I'd like to point out that a staggering 90% of you guys is not subscribed. It really does help if you subscribe and like my content, because that way my content is pushed in the front page for a lot of you guys. And the Sprawl video did really well. I saw that I think about 1,500 impressions were from the algorithm pushing my video. So if you want to stick around for more content like this, I would recommend subscribing, because there's going to be tons more content like this. Without further ado, let us get right into Deadlink. You get 4 classes, being the Soldier, the Hunter, the Engineer, and the Juggernaut. Every character has their own special abilities and their own loadout. The Soldier plays like Doom Eternal. You got your grappling hook, you got your badass shotgun, and you also have an amazing rocket launcher that has kickback that allows you to, kinda rocket jump and also hop in the air. And you also get double jump with every character. So right there, you're already set for an almost Doom-like experience with the Soldier. Since every character has their own special ability, the Soldier has a grappling hook and can also send a shockwave, which scatters everything and also possibly deflects any sort of projectile that may be on your way. The Hunter is a lighter build and is equipped with a revolver and an arc gun. The arc gun shoots an arc of electricity, doing devastating damage. Also, the Hunter is equipped with 2 abilities, one being interchanging positions with the opponent that has been targeted, kind of teleporting and exchanging places with the guy you teleport with, and also has a decoy. The decoy leaves a double of you where you place it, and also turns you invisible so that you can get out of there, kind of flank somebody, or kind of play tactically and mess with who you're fighting. Next up is the Engineer, equipped with a heavy machine gun and a tar launcher that lets you detonate the bombs whenever you like. The abilities of the Engineer include a Wormlink thing, which I really didn't understand, but it kind of lets you lock in with whoever you want to lock in with. You can also use it at one of those sea balls, which are those orbs which are floating around, which makes you really fast and you just zoom around the arena. The other ability being a sentry gun. It's pretty much self-explanatory, and you can use your Wormlink with your sentry gun. The abilities of the Wormlink can be upgraded, and it becomes a very useful tool that you can use throughout your run. Finally, we are at the Juggernaut, equipped with a sawed-off shotgun, which has enough kickback to just throw you back into space, and also a cluster gun. The cluster gun is like a grenade launcher, which shoots a shrapnel-based grenade. It explodes midair and spreads the shrapnel in a frontal arc, doing sort of like a shotgun damage but with shrapnel. It's really overpowered and a really good weapon to use. The abilities of the Juggernaut include a graviton punch, which is basically like you just fly in the direction of where you shot the punch or used the punch at. The second ability throws a wave, which absorbs all projectiles, provides you with some defense, and also throws back a bunch of the enemies which are in front of you. I'm just highlighting the stuff that you get at the start of your run. You can upgrade your shell, you get tons of perks. You can also change your secondary weapon with a different weapon that you get in game. There's a big armory, there's a good load of weapons that you can change and use, but of course I'm not going to be highlighting those because I want you to play this game and see for yourself. It's not really fancy or anything. If it were significant enough, I would have highlighted it, but it's not really that significant, like I said. And also, I'm not highlighting that for the sake of brevity and time. I will touch upon the perk system a little bit just so you can know what you're getting yourself into. Basically, every time you finish a level or an arena, you get the options for getting implants, upgrading your weapon, upgrading your shell for your character, and so on. This allows you to keep upgrading your build and also getting yourself better and better equipment so that you can deal with the swarm of enemies that are going to be coming your way. This game also features a shop mechanic, which usually comes before a boss fight, and this shop mechanic allows you to sell some implants, allows you to get your grenades up, get your health back, you know, the basic stuff. Now that that's out of the way, we can now talk about the 2 game modes that this game has to offer. You got 2 game modes, one being Extant Existence, which is basically an endless mode, and you have Begin Simulation, which is your normal roguelite run. In endless mode, you have to fight different waves of enemies which keep on getting harder and harder, and in every 10 waves, you get to fight a boss. Of course, the boss also keeps on getting harder and harder, and after every 10th wave boss, that boss becomes a normal fodder enemy that you have to fight throughout the waves. In Simulation, you have to go through 4 different areas, each having their own set of enemies and their own bosses. You can choose from 3 difficulties for simulations, and upon completing a run, you get in-game items, codex entries, and cutscenes, which I won't be showcasing because I don't want the game to be spoiled for you and I want you to play the game for yourself. The arenas, or the locations that the game throws you in each chapter, you can say chapter or level, are very varied and they feel really fresh. All of them have an amazing art direction. The first area is more of a Japanese kind of vibe, filled with yakuzas, and the second is filled with industrial grade pharmaceutical mega corporation style vibes. The third area is a more dingy, grungy, and more trashy kind of cyberpunk, the nastier side of cyberpunk basically. And the fourth area is within the vicinity of a large company, a multi-billion-dollar company or something, which is very refined, very sleek, and very professional looking. What I really like about the fourth area is it's actually a boss rush, right? And you have to beat these different bosses to get access to the final boss, and the more of those optional bosses you kill, the easier the final boss will be in Area 4. And this is a really good direction of level design because it really puts you on edge and you really have to be careful because you're just essentially fighting a bunch of bosses just so that you can fight that one guy or one boss. The final boss is not a guy, by the way, but still, it's really fun and a really cool design direction. The first boss is a robot spider mech thing, and this is honestly the easiest boss because it's not really hard to fight and you get a really big arena to fight it in. And basically throughout the fight, normal fodder enemies keep getting spawned in, but they're not really much of a hassle. And this boss has 3 phases. Within these 3 phases, the attack intensity keeps on getting more and more severe as the health decreases. And yeah, there's honestly nothing special to talk about this first Tortilla spider tank. Also, the fodder enemies being spawned throughout the boss fight is a regularly occurring theme, which is going to keep on happening in every boss fight, so you can expect that in every boss fight. Up next is the Phoenix Apex, and the Phoenix Apex is this really heavily modified guy. He's huge, he's got a good health pool, and actually has some pretty tough attacks. You know, you have to be really used to the game, and this is where I really struggled when I started out playing Deadlink, because this boss just goes all out, even in a more normal difficulty setting. Normal enemies being spawned in doesn't really help, and the arena being small doesn't help either. So this is a great point for learning how to fight bosses and also being more mobile throughout the arena. And the soundtrack of this boss fight, everything, it's a really good lesson teacher, and it's definitely not forgiving, and this is from where on out the difficulty spike comes in for Deadlink. In the first phase, he keeps lunging at you, attacking you, and in the second phase, he does this weird ground barrage thing which shoots lasers and just keeps on using his shield for more intense attacks. And then in the final phase, he throws his shield and just starts running at you and wants to beat the living crap out of you. He's just gonna pummel you, so best to kind of stay away. I really like this design. I really like the boss design because the way he plays really teaches you how the game works and how you should play the game. Up next is the false machine god deity boss, Trinary Iskra L1, and this is also a really easy boss fight because the entire boss is this gigantic machine tower, and all he does is throw lasers at you, spawn in enemies, cause some shockwaves throughout the arena, and also change the geometry of the arena. Basically, he has control over the terrain, and because of the terrain control, the arena keeps on shifting, which forces you to keep on moving. Because of that, sometimes he gets rid of the flooring entirely, and some areas get exposed to acid, which causes some damage. So you better be flying around here and there and keep on using your mobility abilities, especially with the Hunter's Teleport. I find it a lot easier to navigate throughout the arena. Instead of phases in this boss fight, you have to kind of damage the components of the tower of Iskra, and after destroying all components, all 4 layers, that's when the boss dies. Different layers keep getting activated at different times, and each layer has its own attack pattern. Some layers deploy lasers, some layers deploy this weird red area which causes a lot of damage. The sea balls get locked out, which you have to kind of shoot at to unlock them. And I don't have to really use the sea balls that much, but they do help in some cases, so still that's a little bit of a problem. And that's basically it. This is the entire boss fight, and it's not that hard, honestly. It's really not that hard. Up next is the final boss, who is the CEO of the company Femto, which is an in-game multinational corporation, the sleek office thing and everything. And the CEO is a hell of a boss fight. She is really hard to fight, and honestly, I had a lot of trouble when the CEO boss fight got added to the game, because back in early access, this game only played up till Iskra. The sudden difficulty spike from Iskra to the CEO is something else entirely. The CEO has all the state-of-the-art augments and implants, which makes her a very formidable opponent. The icing on the cake is that she has 2 phases. In the second phase, her name is revealed to be Liz Watson, and she just goes AWOL. She just goes AWOL. All those previous boss rush bosses we fought, they come back. She starts planting this sentry gun. She throws all kinds of attacks at you. She throws a lot of shockwaves, different orbs, bullets, whatever you want to call them, energy blasts, Hadoukens, and she just goes AWOL. She goes all over the arena, and I had so much trouble when I first had to fight Liz Watson. It was a pain, but now I can kind of get it. I still suck at higher difficulties, but man, this is a good boss fight. There's this really nice detail in game, is that whenever you finish a run, whether it be from dying or actually seeing the end, every time you do it, you get a different and personalized interaction with the in-game characters, and these characters are also fully voiced.
I've been overhearing things. They keep calling you it.
They also keep interacting with you throughout the game as you progress. This is a really nice detail. It makes the game world feel a lot more real. In the main menu, you can also upgrade your shells or your characters and make them a lot more stronger by acquiring in-game tokens and points. These points are usually farmed through completing levels, completing challenges within levels, and all sorts of stuff like that. And this is a really nice mechanic as well, because it helps you become stronger in game. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. And if you want more content like this, why not subscribe? Because I'll be uploading more videos like this, and especially if I get any recommendation, I'll be sure to look into it. All the music used is the Deadlink soundtrack. I got all the names in there as well, and I also make my own music. I got links for that as well, and check them out. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.